por haber aceptado la invitación a debatir aquí en el Museo del Barrio. Now, Mr. Comptroller, I went to the organizational chart of your office, and I'm sorry because the viewers are not going to be able to see it, but they can go online, they can find it. Out of 38 people, just 4 of them are Latinos. Knowing that the city is about like 27% Hispanic, why are Latinos so underrepresented in your office after 8 years?
The truth is, Latinos have been well represented in my office. If you look over the 8 years that I've been there, Latinos have been chief investment officer for our city's pension funds, have been executive deputy controller within my office, deputy controller for deputy controller for legal and settlements, deputy controllers for a number of different things over the period of time. Latinos occupy a number of high positions in my office, have over the almost 8 years that I've been there. I'm very proud of that record.
How about this chart then? Like just 4 out of 38 people, and just 2 with real power.
It is more than 4 out of 38, and I think that everybody knows, everyone from Eddie Castell over the years to Herb Barbeau to Arelis Perez to a number of other people occupy positions of real power in my office. So
would you say that Latinos are represented accurately in your office?
Are highly represented, have been for over an 8-year period of time in my office. It isn't something I take lightly. Diversity is important. I've gone out and assembled the best and brightest and talented, and Latinos have been well represented in my administration.
Thank you, Mr. Comptroller. And Mr. Mayor, I did the same with the key members of the Bloomberg administration. And out of 90 people, just 8 are Latino, about less than 10%.
Más o menos 40% de nuestros directores y 30% de nuestros nombrados son personas de colores. No sé cuándo son latinos u otros grupos, pero te daré los números mañana.
But do you think Latinos are...
But wait a minute, wait. In fairness, Mr.
I said 40%, sorry. 40% of the managers in the city government and 30% of the people that I have named to things are people of color. I don't have the breakdown exactly between Latinos and other groups, but I'll be happy to get that.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Bloomberg, because if you're re-elected, you will have to name a new fire department commissioner. Would you consider hiring a Latino?
I would consider.
Would you name a Latino?
I would consider everybody. I'd never thought that ethnicity mattered. That would not be one of the things that I would think about. We'll look for the best person the way I've always done. We'll conduct a national search. I trust the same person that's done all my past searches, Nat Leventhal, will do that search, and he will identify a handful of very qualified candidates, and then I'll sit down with my top management and select from that group. But keep in mind, we have always looked for the best, and I've worked very hard to make sure that our administration is open to people regardless of the language they speak, regardless of the religion they practice, regardless of where they come from. It's not just Latinos, it's people from all over the world that I want to make sure that our government is filled with, because they're the ones that bring the new ideas, they're the ones that tell us how things are done elsewhere.
I'm sorry, but we're running out of time, Mr. Mayor. Sorry.
And if we're talking about people of color in my office, probably the number in my office is closer to 60% of people of color in the office who have worked hard, who are, as I pointed out, the best and the brightest, who have served the people of this city well. That's the true story. And as I said, the one thing, I've had Latinos, if we come, in the highest positions in my office, making the hard decisions, making decisions to lead this city forward. So I'm proud of the record of inclusion in my office, of diversity, and a strong amount of diversity, so we have done the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Juan. And now we move on to Michael Scotto.
Thank you, Dominic. This question is for Mayor Bloomberg. Your campaign has accused Bill Thompson of pay-to-play politics for accepting contributions from people who do business with the city. But is there such a thing as reverse pay-to-play? And I bring that up because in 2008, your philanthropy gave $235 million to charities, many of them in the city, and that's up nearly 15% from 2007. Is it possible that these contributions help insulate your policies from criticism and buy support from organizations that rely heavily on the funding you provide them?
Be a pretty be a pretty expensive ways to buy a vote. The bottom line is, pay to play is where you get money in order to do in return for doing a favor. I'm giving money. I'm proud of the support that I have given each year to a lot of institutions that help this city and work around the world. And if you want to talk about pay to play, just read the New York Times or the Daily News. My opponent has taken something like $650,000 from people who either manage money or have found money managers, in return for which this city has gotten worse performance out of the pension system. And that performance, that deficit is going to have to be made up, that shortfall, by the taxpayers, because we have defined benefit plans. This is just not the ways we should be running government. And there's just no question what happened here. He says, oh, it's separate, but nobody thinks it's separate. Come on, nobody believes that. The bottom line is, if you want to do business with city pension funds, you would have had to pay. And that's wrong.
And just to follow up, to get back to the original question, though, the millions of dollars that you give organizations throughout the city, do they not provide any favors for you?
I don't think so. I think most of the people that get the gifts or that are the beneficiaries probably don't even know where the money comes from, for a start. Number two, it goes to the organizations, not to individuals. The organizations distribute the money. I'm not out there buying votes. I'm out there trying to help this city.
So these people support you based on your policies, not on any money that you give them?
I would assume that most of the people that run these organizations that I support want good government, and they want people who are generous. And you can be generous with your time. Go to NYC Service. You don't have to do it with money. But I'm very proud of the amount of monies that I've given away each year. Each year I've tried to increase it and plan to do so going forward.
And Mr. Thompson, I'd like you to respond to that, but then also get to one of the points that Mr. Bloomberg raised over the money that you've accepted from people who do business with the city. The fact that you have to take these contributions, how can you be as independent as Mayor Bloomberg?
First, the mayor has engaged in paid-to-endorse politics. Let's be honest. He's made donations to organizations that individuals have in turn turned around and supported and endorsed him. And I think the greatest example of that was during the term limit hearing, where people came to City Hall who were receiving funds either from the mayor or from the city of New York, who worked for organizations and have been brought down to stand up and say they supported a change in term limits. Everyone was aware of that. Everyone saw that happen. And then when they were asked why they were there, they said, geez, I was asked to come down by my boss or by the organization that received money from either the city or from the mayor. I'm glad to have an opportunity to set the record straight about a few things when it comes to the pension funds. The mayor acts as if he has no responsibility at all. So that everyone knows, there are 5 pension funds in the city of New York, each having their own board and their own board of directors or their board of trustees. I'm a trustee on 4 of those boards. I'm the advisor to the pension funds. But the mayor of the city of New York chairs each or 4 of the 5 boards. The mayor has more votes on each one of those boards than I do. And the mayor of the city of New York has voted on every investment decision that has come to him, each and every one. So to make believe he's not part of the system is absolutely untrue. It is false. It continues to show how he spends dollar after dollar, this $200 million that he's spending to distort my record.
Okay.
And Dominic, this is something I take seriously, and I would like to continue just a little bit longer. I think as we look, my reputation, my integrity, and I've spent years in government, no one has ever questioned my integrity. Mike Bloomberg has done that in trying to distort my record. Mike, you know better than that. You should be ashamed. You should stop it now.
Okay.
You know, we do have 4 votes, but if you look at the city charter, he has the fiduciary responsibility to manage the pension funds. And yes, our 4 appointees did approve these things, but they didn't know that he was getting paid monies to his campaign in return for giving out the business. And if they'd known that, they certainly would have stopped it right away.
So then they voted on investments that were sound, that weren't sound. They voted for bad investments. Which way is it?
No,